Hey folks, coming to you with a few more articles that I wanted to share with you. First, from townhall.com, and before I go any further, I want to make a note that I don't focus on news articles from just Fox News or Town Hall or conservative sites. I also look at articles from CNN and MSNBC and other sources that would be considered left-leaning, because I believe that the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Here in the United States, we've got the right and the left. And both parties will lie, manipulate, and twist stories to suit their own ends. And to get to the truth, you need to look at both, and the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle. But you have to be able to look at both sides of the spectrum to be able to figure out what's going on. Because if you don't, you're going to end up falling into the camp of, well, Republicans are always good, Democrats are always bad, or Democrats are always good and Republicans are always bad. I'm here to tell you, you can't trust either party, to be honest with you. Both will lie, both will cheat, both will do whatever it takes to stay in power. So understand that that's where I'm coming from. I don't trust any of them. And excuse me, my throat's a little dry. I don't trust any of them. So I try to keep an eye on both sides. And I try to never take anything at face value. Sometimes I'm human. Sometimes I get caught up in things and fail to fact check or find that my personal biases are being swayed. But I try not to let that happen any more than absolutely possible. But I'm not perfect, though. Anyway, this first article from townhall.com. Democrats doubled down on blocking the Keystone XL pipeline. All right, on Wednesday evening, 219 Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives blocked consideration of the American Energy Independence from Russia Act, H.R. 6858, offered by Representative Dan Crenshaw. All right, some key facts about the bill. The bill would have immediately approved the Keystone XL pipeline. It would remove all restrictions on liquefied natural gas exports, allowing us to export our liquid natural gas to other countries and profit from that. It would restart oil and gas leasing on federal lands and waters, which was halted by the Biden administration on day one of Biden's term in office. It protects the American energy and mineral development from attacks by the Biden administration. And it would require Biden to submit an energy security plan within 30 days and requires the Secretary of Energy to develop a plan to replace oil drawn down from the strategic petroleum reserves in the attempt to fight all this rising gas prices due to COVID, Biden's policies, and the Russian invasion. Okay, the fact that they're blocking this policy, they're not even wanting to talk about it or vote on it, they're just completely blocking it. That right there should tell you they want this crap to happen. This is happening. They want it to happen. And that's all there is to it. So there's things that we could be doing as a country, logical, rational, sane things that we could be doing as a country to ease the pain that the citizens are feeling at the gas pumps. We could become more energy independent, I should say, and we could be shipping liquid natural gas, LNG, to other countries, shipping oil to other countries, helping them separate from dependence on Russia, and in the process, we would be getting better. Our economy would be getting better and stronger. But they don't want that to happen. That's the exact opposite of what they want to happen, to be honest with you. That's my opinion, but you know, take it as it is. You're right. You have a right to your own opinion. That's what I believe. All right, the next article I wanted to talk about: North Korea tests a new ICBM missile system. All right, and I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, yeah, so what? They've been testing a lot of stuff, so what about it? Okay, well, let's look at a couple of things here. North Korea completed more missile tests in January alone than it did in all of 2021. What does that tell you? It tells you that they're trying to build up their defense capability and possibly their offensive capabilities. They're trying to become more of a player in the war game, I guess you could say. You know, Russia and China are building tighter alliances, a tighter, stronger relationship. North Korea and China have also been strengthening their relationship. And I think this is another sign of that they're taking further steps to become more powerful in regards to war. But it also brings to mind that it's just another piece of the puzzle where all these countries shuffling around, building alliances and all this stuff, it feels like the shuffling of the deck. Excuse me, I've got a little sinus drainage I'm trying to deal with here. It feels like a little shuffling of the deck that, and shuffling of power and strategy that you would see before World War I in particular, and even World War II. Think of it as a chessboard. Pieces are getting moved around on the board. That's what I see. That's what I'm feeling right now. We're headed to a new era of global power shifts. Okay, the third article that I wanted to talk about is the UN Security Council has requested to convene today at Russia's request. Russia's requesting this to address Moscow's claims according to the article, presented without evidence of U.S. biological activities in Ukraine. All right. Washington describes the move as gaslighting by Russia. All right, so that's the article, but I want to go kind of off the article here for a minute and talk about some reports that I've been hearing and reading that I don't have specific links to the sources on this. Now, the three articles that I've mentioned so far, I will have the links to those articles in the description below, like I usually do. I try to always make a point of sharing that with you guys so that it's not just a sourceless claim like a lot of people have. This is actually where I'm getting my information. But from here on down, it's the stuff that I want to go over. I've heard other creators talk about this, and I've been hearing reports and reading things online that there's more to this Russia stuff going on than people are giving attention to. And before I go any further, understand that I'm not pro-Russia. I'm not pro-Ukraine. I'm standing back looking, okay, there's problems with both sides of this. I don't necessarily agree with Russia going in and attacking and invading Ukraine. But there are some issues with Ukraine. And the United States has, and NATO itself has also had a big hand in pushing this conflict to where it's at right now. So Russia's certainly not a good guy. Putin is not a good guy at all in any stretch of the imagination. But U.S. and NATO are not innocent themselves. So bear that in mind. So from here, the unconfirmed, I won't say unsubstantiated. I just don't have the direct links to it, but I'm told it's out there. There have been some reports recently that there are some biolabs in Ukraine. The locations of these biolabs also happen to match exactly some of the major cities that Russia has targeted heavily. So it almost looks like Russia is targeting those cities because of the labs. And that's speculation on my part. I don't know for a fact, but it is something that kind of strikes me as odd that the cities that have these biolabs are also the ones that are being so heavily attacked. But to get to the labs, there's a company called Black & Veatch. That shows up as being a contractor of the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency. Okay, now, before I go any further, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, prior to 1996, was curiously known as the Defense Special Weapons Agency. So it seems that they changed their name, possibly to disguise the fact that they were involved in special weapons development. That's speculation, I don't know. But they're now known as the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. Black & Veatch is a contractor of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. Now, from 2008 to 2017, Black & Veatch built labs through a contract with the Defense Threat Reduction Agency to the tune of a $216 million contract. Now, the DTRA is operating those labs through Black & Veatch, a contractor. Now, in 2014, a company called Metabiota, however you want to pronounce it, that specializes in detecting, tracking, analyzing potential disease outbreaks, signs an $18.4 million federal contract as a subcontractor to Black & Veatch. They also built these labs in Georgia and Ukraine. So not just Ukraine, but Georgia as well. Bear that in mind. That some serious questions are starting to come up here. Now, here's the way I see it. DTRA, a department of the Pentagon, uses Black & Veatch. Black & Veatch uses Metabiota as a subcontractor. These two companies share an office in Kyiv. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so in 2016, representatives of Black & Veatch and Metabiota meet to discuss biological safety, security, and surveillance with representatives of the Ukraine and the United States. Now, just to throw this out here, in 2015, Google funded Metabiota in the amount of $1 million. What is a technology company like Google doing funding a subcontractor of a contractor that works directly for the Pentagon? Get you to thinking. All right. Here's another company that's tied into all this that you might recognize. Rosemont Seneca. The firm founded by Hunter Biden and John Kerry's stepson. Hunter Biden and John Kerry's stepson, using the firm of Rosemont Seneca, helped start Metabiota. They funded Metabiota, the subcontractor of Black & Veatch, which is a contractor for the Department of Threat Reduction Agency, part of the Pentagon. Now again, I don't have direct links to all the documentation, all the proof of this, but to me, this raises a lot of questions. A lot of questions that need to be asked, that are not being asked. This brings the question, is this why Bill Barr refused to investigate Hunter Biden and the laptop incident? This is what I'm saying, folks. And some of this kind of stuff goes on the Republican side, too. It's not just Democrats. There's Republicans doing this kind of crap, too. So you have to be careful about believing any politician, regardless of party affiliation, is the answer to all our problems. I believe there might be a handful, and it'd be a small handful, of politicians in Washington that are actually trying to do the right thing. I can probably count them on one hand. And even then, I'm not going to trust them blindly. But for the most part, these people are after money and power. And they will say and do whatever it takes to continue to have money and power, or grow that money and power. But when you start looking back at all this, it's crazy. Hunter Biden and John Kerry's stepson, through Rosemont Seneca, helped start Metabiota. Metabiota is a subcontractor of Black & Veatch. Black & Veatch works for the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA, that works for the Pentagon. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. There's this idea here lately that I've been seeing, and I haven't said nothing about it. I'm going to say something about it now. When the pandemic first came out, when COVID first reared its ugly head, you had people ask questions. Nothing wrong with asking questions. That's how you learn. That's how you come to understand things. Excuse me. All right, sorry about that. As I was saying, there's something I've noticed, that when COVID first reared its ugly head, you weren't allowed to ask questions. Asking questions is good. That's how you learn, that's how you understand, and that's how you get the information you need to respond to whatever the situation is, however is best for you. But when COVID first reared its head, we weren't allowed to ask questions. And the more questions we asked, the more it was squashed down. You were censored. You were humiliated. You were called names. And then later on, some of the things that we were asking questions about started being confirmed. So we would ask more questions. And again, we would be censored, shut down, called names, insulted, attacked. Well, since Russia invaded Ukraine, people have been asking questions. What's the reason behind the invasion? Should we or should we not be involved? It's a valid question. Hang on a second. Sorry, folks. My throat's really bothering me right now with all the sinus drainage and everything. But anyway, it's a valid question to ask whether or not we should be involved. Now, I'm not saying Russia is good. I'm not on Russia's side. I don't support the invasion. They may have their reasons for it. I don't agree with it. I don't support the invasion. I think it's wrong. But the United States, NATO, and Ukraine, they're not altogether innocent either. I think everybody has some blame in this situation. But the more you ask questions about the invasion, you get attacked. If you're neutral on it, say we shouldn't be involved, you get attacked. So I'm sensing a pattern here. For 2 years, the pandemic was the narrative of the day, supported by the White House and mainstream media. If you dare question it, you're the enemy. You're evil. Well, now the narrative of the day is the Russian invasion. How wrong it is and how valiant and honorable and everything that Ukraine is, and how we should be defending them. That may or may not be, I don't know. Perhaps we should. Maybe we're better off staying neutral. I don't know. But the narrative of the day is that we should be backing them. If you're neutral or if you question it, you're wrong, you're evil, and you get silenced. We have to be careful of falling for and supporting any narrative that the government pushes or the media pushes. For 2 years, get vaccinated, wear a mask. Everybody's profile picture on Facebook and social media. I got my shot. We can do this. Wear a mask. Stay indoors. Stay home. Now all you see all over social media, the Ukrainian flag. Now again, I'm not taking sides. I'm not taking sides at all. I don't agree with the invasion. There are better ways to handle that kind of stuff. But I also don't think we should be going to war. And we're risking a lot right now. So I guess what my whole point to all of this is, ask questions. You have to ask questions. You have to look at both sides of every story. The truth is never on one side or the other. It's always in the middle. Because every person, every side to a story is going to have their own perspective, and they're going to twist everything so that it makes them look like the good person and the other side look like the bad person. Take 2 kids, for example. They get into a fight. One will say, oh, it was them. It was them. They did it. They started it. You ask the other person, other kid, same thing. Oh, they started it. They started it. Oh, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And they're trying to make themselves look innocent. Like they didn't have a choice, like they were the victim. Ask questions. You have to. Read different sources. Don't take anything the government or mainstream media says at face value. Don't blindly follow the government or mainstream media. I'm seeing so many people that were so against all the lockdowns and mandates. They were against the jab. Now they're all supporting Ukraine. It's like, okay, maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. But without hesitation, you're falling in with government and mainstream media. You've lost perspective. You've lost the ability to think critically. You have to think critically about these things. And I know I'm running on and on and on, but this is a revolving cycle with the United States. We're so quick to forget what the government has done. All the lies that the politicians have told us. We're so quick to forget all of that. Especially when they throw a new narrative, a new story, the new thing at us every few months. As preppers, we have to start thinking critically, evaluating everything, and never take anything at face value. Never believe anything blindly. Do your own research. Look into things. If you do your research and you still support Ukraine, great. At least you did your research and you understand why you support Ukraine. If you do your research and say, okay, Russia was wrong for invading, that's horrible. Innocent people are suffering and dying, which is true. But there are some curious things going on in the situation that don't make sense, that don't add up. Well, there you go. That's all I'm saying, folks. Just don't fall into the same pattern of disagreeing with a politician today, and then 3 days from now when they say something new, you're 100% for them, 100% by them. No, you can't do that. That's how you get led around by the nose and manipulated. Use your head. Think critically, evaluate everything, and make your own decisions. Don't believe what the government and mainstream media tell you to believe. That's all I've got for right now. I'll make some more videos as soon as I can. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And with that, I'm out of here. I got some more work to do. I'll catch you guys later. Take care.